In this week's news, calls for clemency for Australians on death row, fresh mattresses and linen for Ebola survivors, and warm fellowship in Romania's ICE church.
This is InFocus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Hello, it's great to have you with us for Record in Focus this week. I'm Kent Kingston, and helping us out at the news desk is Sibel Couttet.
Good to be here, Kent. Thanks.
Great to have you here.
Now, it's your first Politics in Focus for the year, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Lyle Shelton is standing by. It's going to be a bit tricky to decide which issues to cover, though, because there's been so much going on. But I guess this week we really have to deal with the issue of this challenge to the Prime Minister that we've seen. So, yeah, that's got to be done.
Yep.
We'll also be hearing, Sibel, from Sue Rad on another topic, the paleo diet.
That's very on trend at the moment, isn't it?
It is.
But is it actually good for you?
Well, that is the question. And as promised, we'll have Candice Thorpe in the interview chair. She represents the Hope Channel Network, 33 Christian television channels around the world.
Sounds like a great program today. Ready for the news?
It's all yours, Sibel.
Religious leaders in Australia have added their voices to pleas for the Indonesian government to step back from its plans to execute 2 convicted drug smugglers. Indonesian authorities say Sydney-born men Andrew Chan and Mayuran Sukumaran will face a firing squad sometime this month for their part in the Bali 9 heroin smuggling attempt. According to the ABC, Sydney's Catholic Archbishop Anthony Fisher and the Grand Mufti of Australia, Ibrahim Abu Muhammad, have spoken out together, asking the Indonesian government to consider that a commuted death sentence would give the prisoners time for more rehabilitation and repentance. Andrew Chan has become a born-again Christian while in prison and has been leading out in Bible studies and chapel services. Dozens of Christians and church workers were recognised during last month's Australia Day honours for their services to the community in a variety of endeavours. Among those awarded were 3 individuals associated with the Sydney Adventist Hospital. Philanthropist Norma Rosenheim was recognised for her support of disadvantaged families in Asia. Her generosity is also felt at home. Last year she made significant donations towards the establishment of a healing garden for cancer patients at the hospital. Professor John Watson, the head of Avondale College's Clinical Education School on hospital grounds, was recognised for his contribution to neurology and medical education. And another doctor, Neil Street, was awarded for his work as a paediatric anaesthetist, particularly in connection with his volunteer work with the hospital's health outreach charity, Open Heart International. Although West Africa's Ebola epidemic now appears to be under control, Christian aid agencies are still hard at work, partnering with other NGOs and governments to contain the outbreak. In Sierra Leone, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA, is involved in an innovative project, replacing mattresses and bedding that may carry traces of the virus. Since November, nearly 1,000 homes have been decontaminated. In Liberia, ADRA is carrying out similar work and recently provided affected families with $110,000 worth of new mattresses, cleaning supplies and food parcels. ADRA has also been active closer to home, with workers from New Zealand assisting Fijian communities to prepare for cyclone season. A number of community disaster management committees have now been established on Fiji's main island of Viti Levu. The committees are planning evacuation routes and emergency accommodation for their regions.
The communities themselves actually see the importance of having these committees and the planning that goes along with it, because most of them have experienced disasters and they know that the need is there and they know of the importance of being prepared and having a plan in place.
While the crisis continues for Christians living in areas of Iraq controlled by ISIS, the extremist group is also having a devastating impact on the cultural and religious heritage of the nation. According to Radio Vaticana, ISIS has deliberately destroyed one of the largest and oldest churches in Mosul. Local police say they witnessed the Chaldean Catholic Church of the Immaculate Virgin being wired with explosives by ISIS fighters. The resulting blast largely demolished the church, as well as damaging nearby buildings. The United Nations has marked World Interfaith Week with an emphasis on dialogue, cooperation and solidarity in the face of violence and discrimination. UN leaders said too many communities around the world face intolerance and harassment because of their faith. They condemned leaders who manipulate people's religious feelings in order to gain political advantage. The UN representatives called on religious leaders to use their influence to work towards cooperation, learning and sustainable development. In recent decades, a new wave of church plants in homes, parks and even the pub has raised hopes of reversing Christianity's decline in the West. But research from the UK suggests that these fresh expressions of church are no better, or worse, at attracting new converts than more traditional evangelistic methods. According to Christian Today, a comparison of 5 traditional parishes with 5 innovative church plants found that both were growing at around the same rate. Critics of the research, however, say that in many home or cafe churches, up to 75% of members were not previously attending any church, a number that mainstream churches would find hard to match. As plans are finalised for this July's worldwide decision-making meeting of Seventh-day Adventist representatives, new technologies are making their presence felt. Historically, votes at the 5 yearly General Conference session meetings have been made by raising voting cards or submitting secret ballot papers. This year, the group of nearly 2,600 delegates will vote by pressing a button on an electronic device. The benefits? Each vote is basically a secret one, and the results can be tallied immediately and accurately, and displayed on a big screen.
You know, there are some delegates who come to vote and they are under very serious pressure to vote in a certain way because of the people around them. And you know, when you lift up your card, then everybody sees. But now they can just press the button and nobody needs to know what they have voted, so they can vote from their conscience.
Ever found your church building uncomfortably cold? Well, spare a thought for the faithful, worshipping at a small chapel in Romania made entirely from ice. According to the Australian newspaper, you can only get to Romania's ice church via cable car. It's in the mountains at an altitude of 2,000 metres. For the last few winters, builders have carved out blocks of ice from a lake near the capital, Bucharest, and had them blessed before transporting them up the mountain. The chapel is enjoyed by Orthodox, Catholic and Protestant visitors, who say that surprisingly, relations between the churches are chillier down in the valley. And that's the news for this week. Sounds like a lot of fun, Kent, doesn't it? It would be a beautiful place to visit.
Oh yeah, I'd love to go there. The cable car and everything. But for a church service, I've decided not a wedding.
Oh no, I think a wedding would look magical.
Oh, maybe the wedding service, yes, the ceremony, but I'm a little bit worried about the icy reception.
Oh, I should have seen that one coming. Well, we'll take a short break now. Politics in Focus coming up after the break.
Discover some of these artists from Salter Music. Anna Weatherup.
Oh, people get ready for the train to Jordan.
Castles in Air.
Like watchmen wait for the morning light.
Eric and Monique.
You alone are my strength, my refuge.
Sapphire.
His love reached the bottom of the ocean.
No matter what shade of musical taste you have, you might just find something that sings to you. It's all waiting to be discovered at saltermusic.com. Fresh and exciting original Christian music from Salter Music.
Signs of the Times, a magazine for a world on the brink. And this month in Signs, can you believe in a God that science cannot prove exists? Eat like a caveman or quit sugar. We review the latest diet trends, 50 Shades of Grey. First the novel, now the movie. And we answer life's big question, why are we here? All in this month's Signs of the Times. Subscribe to Signs today and change your life.
So you think you've got your future all planned out, right? Or maybe you're not sure yet what you want to do, who you want to be, but whatever path you choose to study, a great education matters. Because it doesn't just help you get a great job, It helps you prepare for what life can throw at you and live a great life. Avondale. It's education designed for life.
Welcome back. And for our inaugural Politics in Focus segment for 2015, it's great to have with us from Canberra the Managing Director of the Australian Christian Lobby, Lyle Shelton. You've been busy, Lyle.
We've hit the ground running this year in 2015, Kent, with obviously the leadership spill this week in the Parliament and Tony Abbott surviving what he describes as a near-death experience, 61 votes to 39. So whilst he's hung on, there's a significant group of people that are unhappy within his party, and he's going to have to work hard to win those people back over in the next little while.
Yeah. I guess for a lot of the Australian public, Lyle, this was a bit of an unedifying spectacle, really. I mean, this attempt to unseat a Prime Minister for what seems to be, fairly trivial reasons. Does this concern you in terms of, the culture and the ethos of politics in Australia?
Yeah, you're exactly right there, Kent. It's very concerning. I'm very worried. I think we've developed this unhealthy coup culture in our political class. We see it at state and federal level. And of course, it just seems unfathomable that the Liberal Party has learnt nothing from Labor's woes in having disposed of 2 Prime Ministers. This is not the path to electoral success for any government. I hope both sides of politics take great note of this, and that after this week's events that we see this disease well and truly expunged from our political life. It's not good for our nation.
Yeah. I guess when you see this sort of ambition, pettiness that seems to be taking over rather than a sense of service to the nation. The budget is supposed to be being prepared right now, and I wonder how much work's being done on it.
You're exactly right. We need to see those Christ-like qualities that you mentioned, humility, servanthood, this sort of approach in leadership. I sincerely hope that Mr Abbott and other political leaders take stock of this. And also hope that members of political parties also give room and permission for their leaders to lead. I think we're way too harsh on our leaders as a culture, and I think there's some big learnings from the events of this week.
Yep, fair enough. Now, in our news bulletin earlier, Lyle, we heard that Catholic and Muslim leaders have been calling for the death sentences of 2 of the Bali 9 to be commuted. Now, you've been saying similar things as well. Why take such a strong stand on an issue like the death penalty that's controversial and divisive among Christians, not to mention Australians generally?
Well, certainly people have different views on the death penalty, but there's no justification at all for anyone to be put to death for the crime of drug trafficking. Now, it is a very serious crime. It's a crime that can lead to the death of other people and often does. But it's not right for these 2 men to be executed for this crime. Yes, punishment is appropriate, but not capital punishment. And I would appeal to the Indonesian government to grant these men clemency, even at this late stage, and have their lives spared.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting perspective, and it seems a lot of Australians disagree with you, but I'm sure a lot will agree as well. Thanks so much for your time this week.
Pleasure, Ken. Thanks for having us.
And now it's over to James Toogood and Food in Focus.
My paleo egg, I've got my paleo prawns, there's a paleo fish, there's paleo steak. Everything good seems to be paleo these days, but what is it really about, Sue?
Well, the paleo diet, James, really is an evolutionary construct, and it's meant to be the kind of diet that prehistoric man was supposed to have eaten.
It's a He-Man diet.
Yeah. That's right. But the modern interpretation of it is actually somewhat different to what even scientists believe ancient diets might have been like. For example, a lot of people take it to mean a license just to eat lots of red meat.
Yes.
Meat,
yes.
and so on. But look, the good things are, there are some good things.
Okay.
Paleo diets that are even modernly recommended generally prohibit processed, refined type foods.
Well, fast food didn't exist back then,
fast food, sugars, salt, that kind of thing. So that's a good aspect to it. But what concerns me is that there's this great emphasis on animal protein foods.
Yeah, that's because we think we're all hunters and we didn't gather anything, we just hunted.
Yes, and that's of course not environmentally sustainable, firstly. But secondly, that brings along with it potential health problems down the track. So yeah, you might lose some weight, you might shed some kilos quickly in the short term, but it may kill you sooner in the long term. Firstly, with massive amounts of protein foods coming, say, from red meat, we know from many, many studies this is linked with chronic diseases like cancer and heart disease and type 2 diabetes. But the other thing is, in the paleo diet, they're excluding wholesome foods like legumes and whole grains.
Okay.
Now, if you exclude these guys, what happens is that you are going to totally change your gut flora. The microbes that reside in your gut. And we know that is absolutely pivotal in terms of your immune system.
And what if we say about ancient man? We know that ancient man and women, they ate not just meat but lots of plants.
Well, and not even the meat that's available today. I mean, I don't see any mammoth steaks lying around, do you?
No.
You know, or snail stews for that matter.
They're probably pretty lean. They weren't marbled and housed in a domestic.
Yeah, scientists also say ancient man probably ate all kinds of birds and reptiles and insects. You know, these things are not consumed today as part of the paleo diet. You know, the same foods are actually not available, whether they be plant foods or, you know, or animal foods. And even if you look at some of the studies looking at mummies, they've looked at their arteries and they found that 1 in 3 mummified subjects actually have evidence of cardiovascular disease. So even if you did live in prehistoric times and you did follow more of a hunter-gatherer type lifestyle,
still had problems.
You weren't healthier necessarily. So, you know, trying to take this paleo construct and fit it with a modern body, you know, there's a big question mark around it.
Actually thinking about me too, man, I'm not running around like ancient man, I'm sitting in a chair and I'm digesting this heavier food.
Yes, yes. So I think we need a lot more research. The studies on paleo diets are few and far in between, small numbers of people, and most of them show people can't stick to this way of eating. You know, but the bottom line is, don't take it as a license just to go to town with animal products. Stick to your plants. That's one of the good aspects of it. And go plant-based rather than paleo. Plant-based diets are king, not paleo-based diets, because they'll help you look good in the short term, lose weight, but they also look after you in the long term and protect you against chronic disease.
Well, thanks so much, Sue. I'm going to go to SueRad.com. I'm going to find out some more recipes about a real paleo diet, including more plants, more veggies, less refined foods. Yeah, all comes back to that, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Discover some of these artists from Salter Music. Vintage Season.
I've heard that it's okay to show
Ali and Leighton.
love is patient.
The Promise.
Give thanks unto the Lord, for He is good.
Or something from the Salter Classic series. No matter what shade of musical taste you have, you might just find something that sings to you. It's all waiting to be discovered at saltermusic.com. Fresh and exciting original Christian music from Salter Music.
The media targets our girls with destructive messages. But is there an alternative? Yes, it's Gigi. Gigi is a great new magazine for teenage girls that uplifts good Christian values. Finally, a way to pass on our values in a way the teenage girls in our life will love. So give a subscription to a teenage girl you love today. Visit gigimagazine.com.au. That's gigimagazine.com.au.
Hi, welcome back, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to invite into the studio Candace Thorpe, from the Vice President from the Hope Channel Network, is that right?
Yes, it is, and I'm so happy to be here with you, Kent.
Yep, based in the US, but proudly Canadian.
Absolutely. Cousins, right, of all of us Aussies here,
That's
you Aussies?
Right, absolutely. Now, Candace, a little while back, I got back from PNG. I was with you there and a whole team of, 30 or so people, more. You've come back just recently and you're heading back there again. Tell us what's happening in Papua New Guinea.
Well, we're doing the first ever mega Project Hope for the entire network. We've done Project Hope Productions, which basically is a production intensive where in 1 month we produce at least 100 programs with local people. But Mega Project Hope has envisioned that on a much broader scale. So yes, we had technicians from 17 different countries from our global network, yourself included. And by the way, for your viewers, Kent is not only a good anchor, he's also very good behind the camera.
Yeah.
So
what she's not telling you is I got sacked early and left after 2 weeks. But,
no, we would have loved you to stay longer, actually. Yeah, so we've gathered everyone together from around the globe to come into Papua New Guinea.
And you really mean around the globe? But what,
Absolutely.
Brazil?
Brazil, Mexico, Ukraine, Romania, India, Philippines, and then of course Australia too.
New Zealand, even got to look in.
That's right, and Fiji too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all came together and with the goal of producing not 100 but over 300 programs in 1 month.
Very ambitious.
Wrap your mind around that.
Very ambitious, especially in what they call the land of the unexpected, Papua New Guinea.
Oh my goodness, and has it not ever been the land of the unexpected?
Yeah.
Plenty of that. We've had plenty of challenges, but it's been awesome to watch our professionals from around the world, many of whom are very young, but they are professionals in their own right, mentoring the local people. So not only are we producing programs with local content, but we're also mentoring local people, teaching them skills, how to run a camera, how to edit programs, etc. So it's been a great combination. And not only that, just the opportunity to bring the quality, both of the equipment we've brought into the country to do it and our expertise, but to combine all of that together to produce programs that are going to make a difference in Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
Health programs, we have a young lawyer who's hosting a series called Beautiful Conversations, and it's right on the social issues that teen girls face in PNG.
Yeah.
So we have those series. We have a number of other series. We have a businessman who's a CEO of one of the banks. He's hosting a finance series.
Okay.
So, it's practical things. And, of course, music. Everybody loves music. And in PNG, they have not disappointed us in the choirs and the excellent music that they've brought forward.
That's excellent.
But it's pretty phenomenal every day to be knocking off, 12, 15, 17 programs a day, watching those programs go from the 2 studios and the 3 field crews that we have straight into post-production. They're being edited straight away. The graphics are being edited in, and it's really exciting. It's been a very ambitious project. It's the first ever. In some ways,
But
it's
what
almost
you mean to say, of course, this is a television sweatshop. That's what it is.
Well, okay, if you want to put it that way. In PNG, I would say it's double sweatshop.
Yes.
In fact, we've had a lot of challenges because of the weather. But, we've really sensed God's presence, too. Let me just give you a quick example. Because you were there with us, how important every single day is, and meeting our target goals for every single day. If we fall behind one day, it's not a big deal. But after 2 or 3 days, there's no way we're going to make that up.
Sure.
Sunday, we shoot music. That's the only time, really, that the artists are available. Now, this last Friday, it began to rain. And it poured all day Saturday.
Yeah.
And, many of us were just looking out the window saying, what is going to happen? Because tomorrow we're on schedule, we have to shoot at least 20 music pieces.
And a lot of the music shoot is
Some of it is outside
in natural surroundings with green trees. And,
Exactly. So many of us were just praying, and actually some of them came to me and they said, the weather forecast is not good, Candace. You just need to prepare yourself. Yeah, it's rain all day, Sunday through the entire week. But we were really praying, and I have to tell you that Sunday morning dawned bright. And we had a good day. We had some sprinkling off and on, but at the end of the day, our team shot 23 music pieces.
Wow.
So,
praise God.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been experiencing many miracles. I don't know if any of your viewers have been watching the news, but there was some difficulty with the roads blocking where the fuel is coming from the country from.
So fuel shortages and difficulty
PNG,
getting around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we came down to the point where there was minimal fuel in a couple of our vehicles that are moving about with our teams, one of them being the team that you were with.
Yes.
And I was like on my knees praying and saying, God, we planned for a lot of unexpected things, but we didn't plan for a fuel shortage in the country.
Yeah.
And one of our cars was literally out, had just enough fuel basically to get into town. And they had to sit through a line for over an hour, but they were filled up. And the trooper that we got that one filled up too. And within the day or two, they resolved it in the country. But yeah, it's been a lot of challenges, but the spirit of the team, both the international team, they're so thrilled from all these countries from our Hope Channel network to be there. And I think the local people are blown away by what they're experiencing. So it's pretty exciting.
So the idea, if I'm not mistaken, Candice, is to produce local Papua New Guinea content in order to launch a Papua New Guinea Hope channel. I know you don't want to go into the details of the negotiations and politics, but can you give us a thumbnail sketch?
Yeah, absolutely. Everywhere we've done Project Hope, it has been with the goal at some point that that local inventory would be the catalyst for a new channel to develop. And as I go around the world over the last number of years, that's exactly what's happened. Wow. So yes, we're very positive that in the near future we will have a full-time channel in PNG that will be available for the local people to watch themselves. Okay. And I think that's the very best way. You know, Jesus, when he came, he had the illustrations that the people of that time could understand. And I always say the gospel needs to be done by the people for the people. So we're excited, and yes, definitely by God's grace we'll see it.
And what can you tell us, Candice, about the rest of the South Pacific? Because some of our viewers, you know, watching in the South Pacific are thinking, well, okay, well, that's Papua New Guinea. Well, what about the rest of us? When are we going to get a chance to produce some of our local programs, see our faces on the screen?
Right, and thank you for that. Yes, Fiji is coming along very well. They're putting in a studio there. They're planning on a fair amount of local content. New Zealand, the same thing. And a number of the islands also are looking toward developing local content. So it's going to happen, I think, in the next couple of years. It's going to be pretty exciting to see Hope Channel's growth across the entire South Pacific. We're excited about it.
Wow, very exciting. Hey, thanks so much, Candice, for being with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you straight after the break.
Who is Jesus? A 6-part exploration of the life and the teachings of Jesus Christ. In this series, we'll look at how Jesus helps us understand issues facing us today, such as pain and healing, how we treat each other, worry-free living, fear of the future, and the kingdom of God. That's our quest, to come eye to eye, if you will, with Jesus, the real Jesus.
Every week, It Is Written is available to millions of free-to-air viewers throughout Australia, New Zealand, New Guinea and the Pacific. It Is Written's Gary Kent regularly takes viewers to the far corners of the globe to report on new evidence and discoveries that confirm the Bible and Christian beliefs. It Is Written also provides medical care to remote Pacific Island communities. Join Gary Kent each week for It Is Written. See television guides and the It Is Written website for broadcast times. It Is Written with Gary Kent. It really is television that changes lives.
Hello, welcome back, and thanks for your company this week.
Now, if you missed some of today's program, you can catch it again anytime at our website. The address is record.net.au. Just click the Watch tab.
Yes, please do. All the segments are there, as well as the full program. And if you're even just a little bit computer savvy, Sibel, it's pretty easy to track your favourite video back to its source. Then you can download it or even send a web link to a friend.
Well, that's it from us. We'll see you next week on Record in Focus.
God bless.
Thank you.